Seem to be having some problem with my internet tonight. Having trouble loading videos, but just want to take a few moments. This is the second video for four out of 2 nights, and I normally don't do this many videos, but this SBC thing that's going on with churches taking sides, some leaving the SBC and some embracing the SBC, social justice warrior critical race theory cult that has taken over that denomination. This thing is accelerating. And Jeff Neblett of Grace Life Church in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, does a great job here of describing what's going on, what the problem is. Now, Muscle Shoals, back in the day, back in the 70s, was a mecca of the music industry. Groups like Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, Eric Clapton, Charlie Daniels, and others were recording their music down in Muscle Shoals back in those days. And some of those folks have become Christians. Like I know Charlie Daniels is now a born-again Christian. The lead singer of Leonard Skinner is now a born-again Christian, and so forth. They were recording some amazing music back then because they were incredibly talented. Words weren't always what they should have been, but God works in the way He works. Here's the thing. There was a song by the Allman Brothers called Firing Line, and in that song there was a line, and I thought this line was so good because it's more biblical than a lot of the music that's put out by Christian artists today and Christian praise songwriters. And that line goes like this. If you lay down with snakes, you're going to get their poison. If you lay down with snakes, you're going to get their poison. In other words, you lay down with a brood of vipers, they're going to bite you, and they're going to inject their venom. Well, folks, there are vipers invading the SBC now. There's a brood of vipers in the Southern Baptist Convention, and they're injecting their poison. Well, what's the poison? Well, Pastor Neblett does a good job here of explaining it, but I'll give it to you. There's 3 elements or 3 cult doctrines that they hold to: diversity, inclusion, and equity. None of those doctrines are found in the scriptures, but they are the main cult doctrines of the social justice warrior, critical race theory, cult movement that's in the Southern Baptist Church today. And they are heretical doctrines. And Jeff Neblett and Grace Life Church took a lot of heat for leaving the Southern Baptist Convention. And the reason they took a lot of heat is because they violated those 3 doctrines of the social justice warrior cult. So they didn't fall in line and become cult members. And so now they're condemned as heretics and they're anathematized by the social justice warrior cult. I'm going to let Pastor Neblett explain the rest of it, and then we'll end the video. Thanks for watching, folks, and here's Pastor Neblett.
We long ago pulled back 95% of our missions work to support our own missions involvements. So what I'm saying to you is just another little baby step. It's not some big change. It's just, the change has been coming for a long, long time. We've just never formally stated it. At the last Southern Baptist Convention, the messengers from the churches voted to include critical race theory and intersectionality as tools to help us interpret the Bible. Now, if you don't know what critical race theory and intersectionality means, it's, among other things, it is the notion that if you're born white, you're already a racist. It doesn't matter what you feel or how you act. You're just a racist. All of this reparations talk for what's happened in generations past, all of the radical, liberal, progressive thought is in those terms, intersectionality and critical race theory. In order to appease the culture and get along, They actually voted to say we will include these unbiblical, God-hating, God-rejecting people and their theories to help us interpret the Bible. Not going to happen. I don't need radical, liberal, atheist, and godless people to help me understand the Scriptures. It seems like a small thing, but brothers, I mean the cow's out of the barn. And I know where this is going. I've been watching it for years. You say, well, Pastor, years ago we worked hard to help clean up our schools. Yes, our schools are in good shape. There's only one problem. There's not one word in the Bible that tells you schools clean up the church. The churches clean up the church. And the churches don't have the moral, spiritual fiber or fabric or courage and fortitude to do anything about it. In a recent statement, Southern Baptist leaders said in our next translation of the Bible, we need to include minorities, Latinos, and women as translators. What about people who know the Greek and the Hebrew? We don't need the tokenism of progressive legalism to interpret the Bible. We need scholars to interpret the Bible. All of this, and it's happening like dominoes. In the last couple of weeks, Robert Jeffries, the pastor of First Baptist Church of Dallas, Jack Graham, the pastor of Prestonwood Baptist Church in Dallas, Jerry Falwell Jr., president of Liberty University, they're now Southern Baptist, you probably know that, pastor of the Liberty Baptist Church, his father's old church, all three, and I understand among others, have given their endorsement to Paula White's ministry. Paula White is a heretic, a 3-time married pastor who calls herself a prophet. And these men of this stature, these are former presidents of the convention, at least Jack Graham is, are saying we embrace and encourage her work. It's 100% dyed in the wool. Let's all share our constituencies. It's about money. It's about wealth. It's about popularity. It's hard to retreat from these things. This is folks, Paula White couldn't teach in my Sunday school. She wouldn't be allowed a member of this church. Not that I don't love the lady and would reach out to her, but you've got to believe certain things to be a member of a church and be in good standing. So these dominoes keep falling. I would encourage you to look at my Twitter account and look at the video I just posted by Dr. John MacArthur. John MacArthur, I believe, is the leading pastor theologian in the world. He's the author of the MacArthur Study Bible. We all know who John MacArthur is. He was very gracious to me years ago when we began reforming this church and everybody was against us. I flew out to Los Angeles because I couldn't find any Southern Baptists to encourage me. And Dr. MacArthur said, you're on the right track. You keep going. And the rest is history. But Dr. MacArthur has publicly now denounced the leadership and the direction of the Southern Baptist Convention. So I'm just done with it. I've come to the place where for me, and I believe you would believe too, to continue to formally connect is to confirm and endorse. And again, we're not saying there are not some good people out there, but I've said it a million times, the machine is broken. Now, I agree with Dr. Jeffries at First Baptist Dallas. I agree with Jack Graham at Prestonwood Baptist about supporting President Donald Trump, even though we are very offended and disagree with a lot about him. That his positions deserve our support over the radical liberal agenda of the Democratic Party. If you're a Democrat, I'm sorry. It's absolutely gone. The wickedness, the ungodliness, killing a baby up until the moment of birth, and even saying we'll allow them to die after they're born if the mother decides she wanted to abort it. All of this stuff of applauding and pushing and affirming unnatural, perverse sexual practices, all of these gender issues, all of this nonsense. This is what happens when a culture turns its back on God. And I wish we had a better instrument than Donald Trump, but there is a basis in Scripture, a clear basis in Scripture to disagree with a lot about him, but agree with his policies. If somebody's breaking in your house, I don't think you wait for a police officer to show up that can give you his baptismal certificate and tell you he's in good standing at a godly church. You say, brother, come in here and help me kill this snake. Come here and help me fight this enemy. And that's the way I view that. So I agree with those men on some things. But if we're going to cooperate together, we've got to agree on truth. We've got to agree on the gospel. We've got to agree on what qualifies a person to be a pastor. And so even this week, Brother Steve's getting new calls from churches that are saying, we think we want to connect with you guys. We can't go with this any further. So it looks like, God willing, we'll start our Pastor Training Institute next spring. And again, it's not going to require, we're not starting this big university thing. Can I say this? I'm taking too long this morning, but boy, I tell you what, I could run through this wall right now. I'm just telling you. If you want to challenge me on some of this, you may help me, but you better bring an open Bible in about 4 hours. I've been studying this a long, long time. And far and away, biblically speaking, our Baptist churches are gone. They won't come back to health. Now, there's good Baptist folks scattered in them. Don't misunderstand me. Some people that love the Lord, and I thank God for them. But as a whole, they're gone.
All right. Remember, if you lay down with snakes, you will be bit and you will have their poison injected in you. Diversity, inclusion, and equity are heretical doctrines not found in Scripture. Thanks for watching.